Hey guys, my name is Tori and you were watching the episode for option A. Go! Jane had had quite enough of Aunt Adolpha's company and was already thinking of all the possibilities what she could do with her inheritance. Her parents had never mentioned financial hardships, so she could only assume that there would be an inheritance for her. Yes, Mr. Stevens, I will come with you. I'm happy to help in any way that can get my parents' papers in order. Wonderful. I will give you a few minutes to gather some belongings. I know a most respectable boarding house for young ladies. It's near London Bridge. Jane, I cannot believe you haven't consulted me as to what you should be doing. How do you even know that this man is trustworthy? Interjected Aunt Adolpha. If you walk out of this house now, don't ever expect me to welcome you back. That is a daunting prospect, said Jane, but it's one I'm willing to live with. She left the room with Aunt Adolpha glowering at Gabriel. She gathered up as much as she could fit in her trunk and carpet bag, as she had no interest in ever returning here. As she came down the stairs, the wind roared and thunder rumbled. Jane didn't fancy the idea of traveling in the midst of the storm, but it had to be done. Doyle, the butler, carried her trunk down the stairs and brought it out to the carriage. Mr. Stevens accompanied Jane to the carriage. Aunt Adolpha and Fosco glared from the parlor window. The rain pounded down loudly on the carriage roof and cobblestones as they made their way to this train station. Gabriel quietly puffed away on a pipe. It was a very crowded day in the city streets. There were many sights and sounds to take in, from the fishy smell by the docks they passed by, the enticing scent of freshly baked bread, the clang coming from the smithery, and the cries of different citizens selling their wares. Before much time had passed, they were at the train station, and Jane was following Gabriel as he led her to their compartment. The train enveloped them in its warmth and respite out of the rainstorm. Well, Miss Moore, we should arrive in London before too long and be able to have a nice dinner once we arrive. The train started its journey with huffing and puffing and clouds that were quickly washed away by the falling rain. While they were on their train journey, Jane happened to glance up while Gabriel was shuffling items around and was astonished to see a small dagger in his pocket on the inside of his jacket. She averted her eyes quickly as she didn't want him to know that she had seen it. She began to question whether she felt she could in fact trust him. How much did she really know about him, aside from the fact that he knew a fair amount about her and he knew how to dress respectably? She would definitely have to continue to keep her guard up. After several hours, their train pulled into the station, and it was with relief that Jane exited the small train compartment. It's a short walk to Mistress Vi's boarding house. They wound through the maze of city streets and made their way to the boarding house. It was a rather plain but clean-looking building. Gabriel rang the doorbell, and a woman answered the door and let them in. She was very striking, with dark features and warm brown eyes. Welcome, my name is Eustacia Vi, and welcome to my boarding house. I only let respectable young ladies board here, so I hope you are willing to stick to boarding house rules, including no male visitors except for on Sunday afternoons from 1 to 3 and Wednesday evenings from 5 to 7. I also have a curfew of 8 p.m. Thank you, Mistress Vi. My name is Jane Moore, and I have come to London to attend to some business. Your establishment looks most respectable, said Jane. Jane, why don't I give you some time to get settled, and then I'll return to escort you to dinner, said Gabriel. That would be lovely, replied Jane. Eustacia accompanied Jane to her room. Jane was quite charmed by the room she had been taken to. There was a chaise lounge she could already picture herself reading and reclining in. The bed coverings had lovely floral designs on them, and the carpet was a lovely cornflower blue. She was pleased to see that her trunk had successfully been delivered. Oh, Miss Moore, I will be serving tea to the young ladies soon. Would you be interested in joining us? So your next choice is option C, should Jane take the afternoon tea? Or option D, should Jane take a walk before dinner? Down below you will find the links to the next videos in the story, so make your choice and enjoy the rest of your journey.